So my name's Kayla Boerboom, and I am the 4-H agent for McDowell in Wyoming counties. And we are going to be doing Code the Class, which is a coding activity with a cipher wheel. And we are going to be coding and decoding messages and words to post around the room. So can you think of a time when someone might have wanted to protect a message that they were sending to somebody else so that only the person they were sending that message to could understand? Cipher wheel is a great way to do that. So think of like you're a spy or something. This is a way that you can send those secret messages and only the person you're sending it to will be able to understand it. To get started, we'll need the cipher wheel template, and we will need scissors and a brad. So we'll need these things. And the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the wheel out, and you wanna be careful that you cut on the line. If you don't cut on the line, then you could cut off part of the code. So I'm gonna carefully cut out my wheels. Like I said, you want to make sure that you cut on the line, because if you accidentally cut some of the letters off or some of the symbols off, then when you go to code and decode the messages, it could be off, and you could make it so that you or who you're sending the message to won't be able to read the words. So you're going to cut out both of the circles, and then so you're going to have your two circles. And then you're going to throw away your trash, and you're going to get your brad. So you want to carefully line up your circles so that everything lines up. And if you don't do this right, like I said, it could mess with your code. So once you have them lined up the way you want, you're going to take your brad and you're going to carefully poke through. You're going to poke through your wheel. And then you'll put it out so that it stays put. Okay, and then you'll be able to turn your wheel and figure out your code. So how you make it so that the people who you don't want to read the message can't read it is you have a key. And so for this activity, we're going to make sure that the A and the star are lined up. And then I'm going to be able to read the words because the other letters will correspond to the right symbols. So I just need to make sure that the A and the star stay together so that I can accurately code and decode the messages. So once I have that lined up, I'm going to pinch it so that it doesn't twirl around on me and get lost. The next thing we're going to do is I have a sheet that has coded messages, and I'm going to decode this. So the first one has a music note, a duck, and a paper clip. So I'm going to look on, make sure that my A and my star are lined up, and I'm going to find the music note, and that is a B. So I'm going to take my writing instrument, and I don't want to write on the card because I'm going to post it onto an object, and I don't want to give away what the object exactly is. So I'm going to write next to it so that I can remember what I'm doing. So I'm going to put a B. Okay, so B for the music note, and then a duck. The duck is an O. So I'm going to put an O, and there's two ducks, so I'm going to put two O's, and then a paper clip. Check and make sure that I'm still on the right code. So A and star is still there. Now I'm finding the paper clip, and it's a K. So B-O-O-K, so that word is book. So I would cut out this card, and I would go find a book around the class, and I would put this coded card there. All right, the next one I have is a flower. So I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right. My A and my star are lined up still. And then I'm going to find the flower, which is W. And I'm going to write around the side again, W, and then star, which is A. And then I have two paw prints. So paw prints are L, and there's two of them. So I'm going to put L, L. So that word decodes to wall. So So I would cut that out and I would go and I would tape it on the wall somewhere. So I've been coding some, but what would happen if I accidentally slipped? Like I messed up my code. So instead of it being A and star, I was doing it and looking around and I accidentally messed it up and I made it so that it didn't line up correctly. So let's see, if I was trying, let's say I was trying to decode pen, this one again, which we found out before was pen, I would end up having R, and then the sun would be G, so RG and P. RGP would be what I would have. So it kind of shows you, if you don't know that key, if you don't stay on the right spot and make sure that your star and your A lines up, you won't be able to read the code. We know, because we've already coded it, that this is PEN, but if I had moved it, then it would just be random letters that didn't make the word that you need. So this is the decoding part of the activity. So we would decode all these words and then we'd cut them out and post them around the room. After we've already worked on decoding, now we're gonna move on to coding. So we're gonna create our own coded words. So let's look around the room and we're gonna pick out a few things that we'd like to make a list of, to make labels for, to put up. So each blank card has an area for your key. If you were actually sending a secret message, you wouldn't put it on the card, but since we're gonna be working together and we're not really trying to hide sensitive information, we're gonna have the key on here so everybody can find out and decode your words. So for instance, my key for this one, I want to make the A with the ring. So I'm gonna draw a ring right here. And that's gonna be my key for A. And I think that I want to make the word light. So I'm going to have, A is the ring, but I'm gonna do L, so I'm gonna have a star. So I'm gonna draw a star. Okay, and then I, which is a crown. Let me make sure I didn't move it because I thought it should. Okay, it's still the ring. So I is the crown. All right, and then G, which is the little timepiece. And then H, which is the flower. And T, which is the gear. So I'm sitting there and making my coded word, and after I made the word light, I would cut it out and post it around the room for somebody else to decode, or if I had a friend working with me, I could just swap papers with them and they could decode it and put it around the room instead. Now that we have successfully coded and decoded words using our cipher wheel, let's reflect. So how is using a cipher wheel like learning another language? I think it's like learning another language because you have to stop and work to translate from something that you're unfamiliar with, like this code, or another language into English and something that you can read and understand. It's easy to make a mistake while you're using the cipher wheel. Just accidentally slipping a little bit can mess up your code. And it's easy to make a mistake whenever you're learning English because you're unfamiliar with it. Or if you're learning Spanish, or if you're learning French, some other language that you're learning, it's easy to make mistakes because your brain is learning, it's stopping to think and translate from one thing that you're not familiar with to something that you're familiar with. What did you guys think the most challenging part of this activity was? Why might somebody want to use a cipher wheel? We had talked about how this was a way to kind of protect information at the beginning, that cipher was a way to protect the information so that it only got sent to somebody who could understand, and that knowing the key meant that you could understand it. In history, it was used to send information that couldn't be read by other people. For instance, someone in the military or government could send a coded message to somebody else that they needed to send a message to, and if their messenger was captured, then they wouldn't be able to read the message. Now that you have a cipher wheel, you can continue to code and decode words and messages. You could even work on creating your own cipher wheel. You have the letters, and you guys could make your own symbols, or you could put letters or numbers or whatever you would like on the inside instead of these symbols. So you could use it and make your own. I hope you enjoyed this activity. If you had fun learning how to use the cipher wheel, I encourage you to continue sending messages and maybe write a letter to your friend in the code, or a little note, or create your own cipher wheel.